Alright, this is the first lesson for our Afrobeat production course for beginners. In this lesson, we are going to start from the very basics of music theory, covering notes and scales. I know this is familiar to most of you already and might sound boring, but let's get this theoretical part to pave the way first. And in future videos, we will get to the fun parts and start making beats, so let's jump right in. First and foremost, what are notes? Notes are the individual keys on the piano. Alright, so every single key you see on the keyboard is a note. Now let's look at how the piano is structured. Obviously, it's made up of white and black keys from a glance, but if you look close enough to the piano, it consists of a repeated pattern of 12 keys, 7 white keys and 5 black keys. Let me break it down. There are 2 groups of black notes, then a huge gap, and 3 groups of black notes. And this pattern repeats throughout the piano. To the left of the 2 groups of the black note is the note C, and to the left of the 3 groups of the black note is the note F. We will dive into the labeling of the notes of the piano in a second. Let me select all the white notes of the scale starting from the left of the set of 2 black notes. You will notice the notes are labeled chronologically from C to G. There is no H in the piano note. Therefore, sequentially, the keys of the piano is from A to G. Now, what about the black notes? How do they get their names? The black notes don't carry their own names, but they are referenced or named based on the white note they are next to. Alright, from the C, if I move a step to the right, that note is referred to as a sharp. That's C sharp. But from the D, if I lower a note to the left by a half step, it's called a flat. That's D flat. So the note between the C and D has 2 names. That is C sharp or D flat. Now the tricky part is, what about raising the E a half step? It goes to the F, but remember, the rule is moving to the right a half steps makes the note a sharp. So the F can be called E sharp too. Similarly, B sharp is the same note as C. So sharps and flats on the keyboard are called accidentals. Add this term to your musical vocabulary if you didn't know this. You can label notes on the piano roll by hitting the drop-down menu, View, and then Key Labels. Select all notes. You also have the option of selecting the root note only. Now let's look at scales. But before then, let's familiarize ourselves with intervals. They are the distance between notes on the piano. So from the C, if I move a step to the C sharp, it's called a half step or semitone. But from the C, when I skip a note and move to the D, it's called a whole step or a tone. Let me go over again because we'll be using intervals to make chord progression and define the emotions of the progression in future lessons. Because intervals plays a unique role such as adding tension, resolution, or acting as an anticipational note. Let me build chords to demonstrate anticipation and maybe some tension, and let's resolve it to the E and end it on the tonic. Resolve it back to the 1, a place like home. A simple major and minor triads. By the way, we'll get much into this in later tutorials. This is just to demonstrate. Do some inversions, and here's what we have. Maybe we can mix and match them and listen to what it sounds like. Back to intervals. Alright, from the D, when I move to the immediate next note, D sharp, it's a half step. But when I skip the D sharp or E flat and move to the E, that is a whole step. So back to scales. Let's use the theory of whole steps and half steps to build the major scale. By the way, scales are families of notes with different pitch arranged in a sequential order. They serve as the foundation for melodies and harmonies in music. So the pattern for the major scale is whole step, whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, and half step. To highlight scale on the piano roll, hit the drop down menu, go to Views, scale highlighting, select the scale and key. Now that our scale is highlighted, only the fainted colors belong to the scale. You can see clearly that this theory checks out. You don't need this as FL Studio highlights the scale for you, but I just want to begin this course from the very basics and add little levels of complexity to it to make it advanced in a masterclass. Now let's look at the number system. All notes of a scale are represented by numbers starting from the tonic note or the key of the scale. In here, we have the C major scale. We begin the counting of the note ascendingly from the C. It is just back to the C, which is referred to us as the octave, its size, octagon. These numbers are often represented as Roman numerals. Alright, so you just have to know the major scale and you can derive the minor scale from that. So the sixth degree of every major scale is relative to the minor scale. So if I change the key to A minor natural, these are the same notes, but because maybe it is rearranged, so you wouldn't notice it at a glance. Let me select from the C to the G. I am holding on Ctrl plus left click and dragging to select. And I'll do Ctrl plus arrow up to bring it up an octave. Alright, so you can try this with other keys. Just choose any major scale. Find the sixth degree of that scale. Just count from the tonic note, that's the D sharp. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here's the sixth degree of the scale. And use same note of that scale to get the minor natural scale. So now we know that the relative minor of D sharp major is C minor. So let's say that we have a minor scale and then we are trying to build a major scale. How do we go about that? With this instance, you just count to the third degree and use same notes to get to the major scale. Alright, the relative major of the F minor is G sharp major. Alright, so that will be all for this lesson. In the next lesson, we'll be diving into basic chord structures. Thanks for watching and see you in lesson 2.